Good evening, everyone. This is Operation Find for Effect. Gene Symes with Popcast, who is the host.
I have no sound.
What happened to your sound, Gene?
You have approximately 10 minutes, okay? I'm going to keep track of the time. If you go a little bit over, hey, but we got to try and stay uniform on all of this. Everybody agree on this? Then we'll go. Okay, the first one we have is Simon Alvarado from Texas. He wrote a book, Veterans, The Illusion of Truth. And that's about how the VA have their laws that they're supposed to keep and work their system through that. But it's only good for them. It's not good for the veterans. So Simon is going to tell you a little bit about his book and what's in that book. And that's one. And then we have Francisco Juarez from Los Angeles on the issue of the veterans home. Land is being misused by the VA and by the politicians, that this land was supposedly strictly a place for our men and women to rest, to get their needs met, and it's not happening. The next one is Luis Canales. He's not aboard. He's a veteran that had three major operations on his back, and the VA is not doing and fulfilling their needs to this man because they cut him off from opium, and they refuse to give him any medication or tranquilizer or to relieve his pain. So he has an issue there. That's a little confusing on that. Then the next one is Calvin Murphy discussing the issue: what is happening to our veterans now that they're out? Are we leaving them loose and nobody's caring for them? We need to start taking care of these men and women, and he'll explain that. So first, Simon Alvarado from Texas, please explain what that book is all about.
Hey, Gene. This is the cover of my book. Can you all see it? Okay, I've written this book. It's taken me a while to get it done, but basically what it is, the illusion of truth is when you tell a lie long enough, it becomes a truth. Well, the VA has been able to use that very effectively throughout the years, okay? And one had to do with let's call it a deception, fraud, by calling the disabled veterans employees of the VA. The federal laws are very specific of what is and what is not subject to process in any type of situation. Or what the VA does, they're using a Title V, which is civil service, to claim that veterans are or employees of the VA, so they can go ahead and process garnishment orders through Title V, Section 581, 103. And the laws are very clear. Now, Title 42, Section 659 clarifies exactly what is and what is not, and who is subject to certain types of requirements or processes. But the VA has been able to circumvent that. Now we have actual documents from the Department of Veterans Affairs General Counsel, where they're saying that it's okay to claim that veterans are employees of the VA, but they undermine the federal law itself, still under Title V, which is civil service, which defines what is and what is not, who is and who's not employed of the VA. Now, the book here is very specific. It's specific to a point where it gives you a step-by-step process of where it begins, how it begins, and how this thing perpetuates. All the laws that are in this book are federal laws, okay? They pertain to disabled veterans who are drawing VA disability compensation. Now, the VA has again done another VA stuff by not only that, but in the book it talks about the VA being complicit with state child support and support offices in order to circumvent the federal laws. Now, if you look at apportionment, apportionment is a process where if a veteran is not providing for his family, then the VA, then the dependent can go ahead and file for an apportionment. Now, apportionments are not automatic, but the VA encourages them, which all it does is backlogs the claim process. But one thing interesting about this is that when a veteran at 100% gets maybe also gets about $300 a month with a child and one spouse, but when he gets divorced, all of a sudden, now the VA consider that to be reasonable, okay? But the thing is, when he gets divorced, that 3.6% is no longer viable. They think that it should be no less than 20% would not be enough, and 50% would be too much. So, but if you, I looked at this, and these are the same guidelines the state child support office have: a minimum of 20 and a maximum no greater than 50%. But this is what the VA has done in trying to take away benefits from disabled veterans who are drawing disability. Now they confuse two different individuals. One, they want the courts want to believe, and the legal system wants to believe that a disabled veteran is a retired member of the military, which is not. A retired disabled veteran is not vetted with 20% years of military service. So, but they sort of combine the two and make it. This is where the illusion of truth comes in. Is they have told this lie long enough that all the courts, all the attorneys, all the judges, in their mind, they're thinking, "Oh, this guy's a retiree, and they can do it." And another group of individuals that do the same thing are the VSOs, DV, and keeping in mind these individuals are trained by the Department of Veterans Affairs on what is not. Okay, the thing is that the VA themselves don't know how these laws are defined, and we can prove that by meeting that we've had with the General Counsel in Washington D.C. We have actual documents from them supporting their claims. So the book, if you know someone that is going through apportionments, a lot of times veterans don't know. All they know is that they're being apportioned. That's it.
So, Simon, what you're saying is that these veterans aren't getting their benefits. Are actually being robbed by the VA, not utilizing the laws that they have put down for the rules of apportionments and benefits, right?
Right. They encourage that behavior through state courts. Jane?
Yeah, Gene. By the way, I believe that someone raised their hand. It might have been Janelle. I think has a comment to make or a question, perhaps.
I'm probably jumping in a little bit too early.
Go right ahead. Go ahead.
But
yeah, make it short, Janelle.
We know of a lawyer that goes around different states and fights this. He's won in several states. He has cases in Alabama. The child support office cannot legally attach VA disability compensation because they do not have jurisdiction over it. A lot of states get up to $10 on the dollar for every dollar they collect in child support. They get repaid by the federal government. So if they get $100 from you, they might receive $1,000 from the federal government. They have no legal jurisdiction to attach your disability compensation. The way it's supposed to work is they take every penny that you get in a month, they subtract out the VA compensation, and then they move forward. They are not legally allowed to touch your disability for child support or alimony.
Okay, Janelle, I got to let Simon finish this off. Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is on his shot. Go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, Janelle's right, Gene. So, but that's what the book talks about. The book talks about things that the state can and cannot do, and these are based on federal laws. Okay, the state courts do not have jurisdiction or subject matter jurisdiction over federal benefits, but they do it because they think they convince people. They have convinced the legal system that it can be done. You look around and ask them, oh yeah, it can be done, but it cannot be done. Legally, it cannot be done. So they're in violation of federal laws.
Simon, I have to interrupt you. Time is just about up here, and I want to get Francisco, but don't go away because Aaron's going to be asking you some questions on some of these issues going on, if you don't mind. I appreciate very much. Francisco, what as from West LA in support of the Veterans Home?
Thank you, Gene. I want to first thank Mr. Aaron Richmond for this opportunity to use your podcast. And of course, thanks to Operation Firing for Effect for tipping us off about it. When I say us, I mean the NHDVS coalition in West Los Angeles, based in West Los Angeles, but we have advocates across the country who are challenging the poor and harmful land use policy at West Los Angeles National Home, the biggest and the busiest of all the homes in the VA system. It's been referred to as an icon because of its size and importance. In reference to what Simon has published in his book and what he's just briefed us about, I have to say that if you offer a shit sandwich to a person who's starved long enough, it's going to start sounding pretty good to them, and they might eat it. You know, that's what happens when the illusion of truth is successful. Some people would say, and I agree, that the VA has robbed veterans of a lot of their entitlements. And other people would say, oh no, it's just been mismanaged. But let's remember that the VA is an institution built on noble principles. It's not the institution that's wrong. It's the individuals that are leading it that need to be cleared out of. I love your book, Simon. I love what it's all about, and I congratulate you on putting that out there. I want to tell you about the VA West Los Angeles situation. Today, it's a cat and mouse game that we've been playing. We, the coalition, are a group of unpaid volunteers, and we have been the thorn in the side of the VA that is being paid to try and squash us. And they have people with 6-digit figures that have been trying to use the resources of the resourceful land grabbers that they're working with to try and repurpose that land. We cannot allow that to happen, and I hope that this broadcast goes far and wide, because veterans and veteran families and friends of veterans, the American population must put its foot down and stop this land racket that's taking place in Los Angeles, again, at the biggest and the busiest of all the homes across the nation. I was there today to escort a candidate who's running for a city council seat for Los Angeles. He wanted to know what it was that we're advocating about. And once we were through with the tour, you know, I could see it in his eyes. This guy was overwhelmed, and he was.
So, Mr. Juarez, I believe Gene would like to speak. Gene, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Francisco, would you please mention the part that Mark Takano and also Mr. Senator Tester plays in all this issues that you've been trying to get clear, and also Ted Lieu, and also the director. I'm kind of interested to see where you're going with this.
Well, yeah, I can cut right to that. There is no bipartisan effort to try and save the home. If anything, there's a party line effort to snag the home and use it for their own purposes. That's important for you to understand. There is no bipartisan effort to try and save this home. VA issues, veteran issues, are not supposed to be along party lines. they're not supposed to be political, but you have the likes of Takano, who introduces bills in Congress and asks for the passing or waiving of the reading of the content of the bill. Kind of like, here's a bill that's going to change everything for the good. Trust me on that and vote on it. And which is what they've done for several of the bills. Ted Lieu is a congressman whose venue this property is in, and he has been conspicuously absent lately. Some rumor about the changing of his district, but that's unofficial. And he has not paid attention to our advocacy since the day he took office. And he has not done anything but being in bed with the land grabbers. Tester is an outside source. I think he's in Montana. And he's somebody that the VA has, not the VA, the Brentwood community, which are the NIMBYs, have contacted. They have a lot of money in their neighborhood. Their zip code is among the top 3 or 4 that make political contributions. And they got a hold of him somehow, and he's the support from outside of California. The politicians are really bad actors, and they're causing a lot of harm because they're stopping any development of any sense of urgency from taking place. And when there's no sense of urgency, nothing gets taken care of, and people have died outside the fence line. People have had mental meltdowns outside the fence line. People across the nation have died in the streets while their home is being robbed. And the worst example I can give you is now that they have let them in onto the federal footprint, you think that they would put them in buildings that were built to house veterans? Oh no, those are leased out to UCLA and Brentwood School. And the veterans are in tiny plastic boxes that they call tiny homes. And they have to go to a community shower, a community toilet. So they're really,
I'm just interjecting. This is, I believe you, Mr. Juarez. This is bizarre and unacceptable. This is very, very, I'm just so glad you're speaking up on my podcast about this. This is really, really weird. I believe you, by the way. You're right, but this is ridiculous.
Well, when you have the likes of UCLA, Aaron, which has a budget larger than some third world countries, trying to take over this land, who's going to stop them? We are.
We are. Absolutely.
We must. Your podcast and the results of this podcast must make this happen. Recent developments where there's some major media that's interested in the true story now. I can tell you that, and I can tell you that our researcher, who has been a shot in the arm to our advocacy because he knows how to do forensic research on the internet, has informed us that there's major media now asking him questions. The American GI Forum National Commander recently came into town to get a firsthand look on his own because he was getting conflicting reports. And he left, and he sounded just like you right now, Aaron. And he's saying that he's taking a report to Washington. And there's a lot of controversy that's going on. Overall, there's a land racket that's going on, and it involves politicians. It involves Brentwood School, UCLA. It involves Maverick Energy, which is oil drilling taking place there. All of these things are self-consuming, and they're excluding veterans from enjoying land that was specifically set aside for them to use. And with a beachfront property at that sits out on the ocean by Santa Monica that nobody knows about. It was all part of a vision.
Francisco, we got to move on to the next, but I want you to keep your thoughts there because Aaron's going to be talking to Simon and you. I can feel it already. So let me get Calvin here. I apologize for interrupting you, but hold your thought on that. This is not going to an invisible place. It's going to go somewhere. Calvin Murphy,
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
this sound funny to you? What Simon and Francisco is talking about? Doesn't it come in a circle of what your thoughts are?
It sure does. First, I want to say thank you to Aaron when Gene told me about your podcast here. And excuse me, I'm not very technology have an expertise toward it, but thank you. And Janelle, Gene, Simon, Francisco, it's good to see you guys. I've been out of the loop for about 2 years, but the reason I'm on, and I hope I can hold my temper, I joined Operation Firing for Effect in 2005. I got with Gene and Jerry Berry on the issue of 5301, disability benefits and divorce court. And I never imagined this was going to turn into the hell of a ride it became. I've been in jail up here in Michigan to challenge the state. I said, whatever me and my ex had, every penny, 50-50, do what you want, but you're not touching my VA disability. And I asked the judge, how can the highest court in the land make a judgment and the lowest court can go around it? And he looked at me and said, damn it, mister, because you're in my courtroom, not the federal government. And I said some words, almost got contempt. But anyway, I got 90 days in jail. I was the first to really challenge Michigan. Been fighting to this day. And I've got health issues. My future don't look too good, but I'm going to fight this till my last breath. And we, on the 5301, we have made a little progress in Michigan. But jump forward from that, Aaron, I see you were surprised by what Francisco said, what's happening to the homeless veterans. I want to get to the public what's happening to the veterans after the state courts are raping them of what they earned serving this country, especially the combat veteran. There's so many stories over the years. We've known guys that have taken their lives because the state courts took so much of their benefits, and a lot of them were drove to homelessness. And I mentioned to Gene the other day, we don't know if the gentleman passed away, Joe Duvak, I believe his name,
That's
from
what his name was.
Minnesota. He was in a wheelchair. His wife divorced him, but his son even said how the woman would beat this veteran. He was defenseless, but then divorced him and wanted all of his benefits. Now that's BS. And I have to go back to 2005 to today. I am sick of talking to politicians. They do not listen. They'll listen, have a photo op, we'll look into it, and you never hear from them again. And I know me, Gene, Simon, we've traveled a lot of miles, especially many trips to Washington. I could have wore holes in the soles of my shoes in the halls of the Capitol, knocking on doors. When you get something, yep, we'll look into it. Nothing. I gravitated toward veterans that ran for office. Once they get to DC, they ain't no better than the rest of them. Just talk, talk, talk. I have not seen one politician since 2005 that has even taken these veteran issues, whether it's the land, benefits, or what, taking it right to the floor of Congress. None of them. Yep, we'll do this, we'll do that. My feeling is take it to the public with podcasts like you've got, Aaron. Let the people make the judgment. That's who we served. Me, I'm so fed up with politics, both sides of the aisle and every damn thing in between. Nothing, nothing, nothing. All you get is talk and promises and nothing. And we got to take this and get it into the public opinion. The public is going to be pissed off if they know what their veterans are going through. And it's with the politicians, it's like a taboo subject. And VA and politicians, I think, are the biggest two enemies to our veterans that is in this country. And I get sick of my brothers and sisters that were ready to die for this country. We answered the call when we were called. But now we're calling on our so-called officers in Washington. All you get is a bunch of bullshit. That's all you get, nothing else. And I believe in the old saying, well, just let them talk, just wait for them to die. And I'm upset about it. But with Gene's guidance over the years, we thought we rattled some cages sometimes, and then it dies off. Gene was with me. When I went to jail, I had a jacket on from my unit and medals that I had from Vietnam. I'm not highly decorated in no way, but I earned them. They meant a hell of a lot to me. I had a jailer throw that jacket on the floor. Come on, G.I. Joe, we haven't got all day. Hey, man, that's like throwing the flag on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me G.I. Joe again. I won't go into what happened after that, but I never seen him again. There were a few cops that were vets. They got pissed. But to get treated like that, and I've said it in other interviews, when they took me to lockup and I got out of that van, the last thing I seen before I went to that cell was the American flag flying. I kind of think I'm a hard ass in some way, but that brought me to tears. All I could think of is, what'd I do?
Yeah.
I'm guilty of serving my country.
Calvin.
That's all I'm guilty of. And then I gave my medals. Gene was with me, to Alan West. He was a congressman. I hear you guys. I hear you. We thought we might have opened the door. Well, he lost election and nothing become of it. And I'm just looking for an alternative route to get the word what's happening to our veterans to the public. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Calvin, thank you so much. I believe that Aaron's going to do a round robin here, but let me just say this. Every politician that we've ever been to always had an ear that you could look in his right ear and see clear through Montana through that. And
Amen.
These are one of the things that we have a problem with. That's why I always say, politicians like to pin a medal on a veteran, makes them feel good, but then they forget you. And believe me, they forget you just like a used car salesman. Aaron Richmond, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to you. We got Simon and Francisco and Calvin. If you would mind, ask your questions. I would appreciate it very much. I'm going to sit back and listen to you.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to take this time and, of course, say God bless you all and thank you for your service wherever and whenever it was. So obviously I have some comments to say, and I never sugarcoat anything on my podcast. And if people are offended, they need to listen to something else. I'm not happy. I am not happy about this one single bit. Quite frankly, the fact that you, I believe, Mr. Alvarado, have to write a book to tell people what the truth is about how our own country is treating our own veterans is, quite frankly, terrifying to me. That is a problem, that you have to write a book to tell people what the truth is. If you have to write a book about the truth, that already should be, setting off alarm bells in anyone's ear. we as American people need to know what the truth is. So of course, of course you can talk about where people can find the book. What I wanted to say, I believe, second speaker, as far as this nonsense out in California, I believe, as you were saying, Mr. Juarez, what does the and I already know what the answer is, but what does the governor of California say when you were to contact their office and say, are you aware of this? Because if I was a governor of, I don't know, any state, I would be pretty offended that this is going on, and I would put a stop to it by saying, I demand that this be stopped. So what does the governor of California have to say about this? Anything?
The governor of California, I am told, is related to the Speaker of the House, and
then that's okay. Well, then
enough said. If I could be allowed, though, I'd just
Sure.
tell you that the veteran in the upper left-hand corner of my screen is a veteran who found a flag. Calvin, you speak about a flag. She found a flag online and brought it to our advocacy, and we use that flag as our logo. It's a flag that has a Civil War veteran being handed a cup of wine by the image of a woman who is America. And it's just a very, very symbolic gesture. And it speaks about from a nation to her defenders. That makes me want to say that America has a moral obligation. We're all saying it on this call. America has a moral obligation to genuinely care for her defenders. And that's not happening today. The buzz in the air is that we may be making more veterans very soon if this war in Europe gets any worse. But you can't even take care of the veterans you have right now. Why would anybody want to join the service and go fight that? This isn't nothing equivalent to World War II, World War I. Simon touches on the care of veterans after they leave the VA. There is none. We've been going over to Western Avenue here in LA where the once unhoused veterans, I don't say homeless because they have a home, just somebody stole the key. So we'll say the unhoused veterans have been put up, and there's really no services that have followed them. They could die tomorrow, nobody would care. I'll finish by telling you that all of these things that you mentioned on your call, Aaron, are the tip of an iceberg. And that below the waterline is America's moral obligation, and it is being violated. It is really being violated, and society's ship is about to hit that, and it could sink the ship. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess my question to... Does anyone else have any other statements that they would like to make?
Yeah, I have one.
Sure.
Gene can tell you that we've met with the Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs. I gave him a copy of the book. We met with the General Counsel, and they were unaware of none of these laws. I mean, they were totally ignorant. So I gave when we met with Robert McDonald, I gave him a copy of the book. Okay, so it's not like they don't know; they just choose to ignore. So we've reached out to a lot of people. You name it, we've been there. And this is not. I've written several books on all these laws, and Kel can tell you, that 5301. I started with that. I started out with Gene a long time ago, and I got to a point where I've researched everything There's nothing more to be found. This is the finality of all the books. And thank you, Aaron, for doing this for us.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Calvin, I believe your name is anything to add over there on iPad?
I did forget to mention one group of people. I think they're just as low as the politician. That's attorneys. A lot of them are getting rich off of veterans, especially representing them in court cases, especially divorces, but other ones. And I'm looking at Gene with the flag behind him. I'm working with a young man here in Michigan. We're trying to figure on the flag have the image of a veteran, but we want teardrops to be falling from the flag. It's like the flag is coming apart with teardrops coming down, and the veterans are going with it. It's just something I've been wanting to do over the years. I'm going to keep Gene up on that. But yeah, that's about all I got. You know, I'm very upset, man. Very upset. I love this country so much, but why can't the country love me? All I did was serve it. And these idiots in Washington, again, I do not go either way politically or in between. I just have no faith in them. They care less about us. It's just power and money for them, and the hell with us. Thank you, Aaron.
You are very welcome, and thank you.
Aaron, could I take a few seconds here?
Of course you can.
You know, everybody that's come aboard here has encountered politicians left and right, politicians that look at us and pat us on the shoulder and campaign using our name, our universal name, veterans. We love you. We care about you. No matter what goes on, we're there for you. And when they say they're for you, just like Senator Tester in Montana, he cares about the people in his state. And then he says, I care about the veterans of this country. When they say that, they're implying that all veterans, no matter where they're at, that he's willing to listen and fight for. So I called his office and talked to one of his staff member. And I told him that. And I says, why would he say that if he doesn't support my call? Well, you know, you have your senators. I said, our senators aren't listening. I said, where do we go from here? Well, you can go to the Senate Committee of Veterans Affairs. That's the one that Senator Tester is chairman of. I says, wow, well, that's good. Then if our senators are there and he's telling them this, must be that he's going to reprimand them and tell them, hey, take care of your people and don't send them to me. He could say that, but that doesn't go anywhere. Then you have Braverman at the Los Angeles VA. Am I pronouncing that name right, Francisco?
Yeah, you are.
He's the director of the VA hospital up there. Totally listens to nobody because his crap smells better than mine. And I'm glad it does. We have veterans on the sidewalks in Los Angeles that needed a home. Francisco and the rest of the crew that is there participating as one was able to get veterans inside the facilities with tents and help them to get fed, get some clothes, get their needs met. But Braverman also would love to have them out because it disgusts him. And that's the way I got to say it. If it isn't for Simon's book that he's written, The Illusion of Truth, nobody would know what the VA was. But because the VA relies on their universal laws for them, but doesn't apply it to us when we need it, that's bad. See, the VA is a great outfit. The laws are great. They're tremendous. But the whole thing is you're leaving the veterans that participate or are part of those laws that they're supposed to be cared for and taken care for out. That's the problem. So I have to come to you, Aaron Richmond and say, look, Aaron, we need a spot here. And explain a little bit to you. And you said, Gene, come aboard. We've been doing this from 2005, 2006, all the way up. We've been hassled by many people, pushed around by a lot of people, but yet the care is not there. Aaron, I'm hopefully that I'm going to ask your request for these people to come back, these veterans to come back again, but with a couple of more, so we can get a little bit more exposure. If that's the only way I can get this word out. Operation Fine for Effect doesn't stand for fighting. It stands for firing with our voices. And you have given us that opportunity. I thank you so much.
Yeah, you are so welcome. You are absolutely welcome here. All of you are, and of course, if just throwing this out there, if all of you would like the opportunity to actually do a one-on-one interview with me and learn more about my podcast, you're more than welcome to reach out privately. And Gene, you are welcome to give everyone here my contact info, and you all are welcome to contact me. But generally on my podcast, I do one-on-one interviews, and it's pretty special and pretty unusual that I do a group, basically a round table like this, as we would say, I suppose. But I'm sure that probably some of you hopefully have some questions for me. I would hope you would. So do you want to ask me any questions? Any of you, all of you, hopefully have questions for me.
You got a few minutes here, guys. Go for it.
Okay, it's Calvin. Maybe this is more educational. Gene was with me. Do you know what the bonus soldiers were, Aaron?
I do not.
Okay, it was veterans from World War I who protested in front of the Capitol. I got to remember 1931 or two. They were protesting to get their bonus for service during World War I. They didn't get it till 1948 when they all were just about dead. The military ran them off the lawn. Well, it was General MacArthur and Dwight Eisenhower were the two military soldiers that forced the veterans that were fighting for their rights at that time. But that's something you can look into in history. My point is, when Gene set that up, I want to say 2007, Gene, he contacted every congressman and senator's office in DC. We had one guy come out, if I remember right, he was from West Virginia, and he wanted to know what was going on. Nobody else showed up. And that sticks in my side to that day. They knew. We used that as the 75th anniversary for the bonus soldiers to get our word on the plight of the veterans. Nobody took the time to even come out and acknowledge us. And it's things like that, just over since I've been with OFFE, that are discouraging. And I think of the veterans that we've had in this organization over the years that have passed away. I can't forget them guys. They fought for these causes right up till they died. And there was a lot of them. One Green Beret that really sticks out. Don't have to mention his name. Gene knows who I'm talking about. The service he gave to this country. And they treated him like a dog right up till he died. And I feel so sorry. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And there's so many different stories. But it's going to take people like you to help us get this word out there. Aaron, I salute you. Thank you, my friend.
Simon, can you give a direction where they can get this book and a phone number so they can look at the book and read it and understand what it means so much for veterans to understand what the laws are and what the laws are already, but it's not working for the veterans, only working for the people that wrote it, not for us.
Yeah, Gene, if somebody wants to, these books will be on demand. So if somebody, they'll be based on a donation. I have a nonprofit called Forgotten Warriors Project. And I thought about that sometime back. I've had it for a while. Because I mean, a lot of veterans were forgotten, they forgot who we are, what we did and whatever. So, and more every day we're being, that we're being left out. The VA
How
wants
can
to,
they get this book?
what's that?
How can they get this book?
Well, they can. An email. It's called Forgotten Warriors One at gmail.com. They can email me at that email. I'll be more than glad to mail a copy out.
Any phone numbers?
My area code 979-716-8272. They can call me on that number, and that's my cell number. So I do what McDonald does. McDonald would give his phone number. The secretary of the VA gave his his cell number, and people would call him and he would answer. He's the only one that's done that. Go figure. But something real quick on what Cal was talking about. That was a bonus march that started off in somewhere in Francisco's area, and they marched all. Mostly were farmers. They started on that end, and they ended up in Washington D.C. And the bonus that they were contesting was after the war they were offered $50 for a bonus, $50. And the government at the time didn't have the money to pay it, so Congress resisted. And they called the military in to break up the group. And I think it's very shameful. And we should never forget that. Here we have these veterans that were able to walk, travel from one end of the country to the end of Washington, D.C. And it took a while before they finally got their bonuses, $50,
Very good.
That's what, $10 a year?
Yeah.
For the war that they for 4 or 5 years. So that's very shameful. But again, like everybody else, I want to thank you for allowing us to express our feelings.
You are welcome. Always welcome.
Francisco, could you give a contact and an email to where anybody listening to this could contact and want to support what's going on in West LA, no matter what state they're in?
Absolutely, Gene. Thank you. There's a website that contains all of the factual information that I based all of my comments on. It's simple to remember, nhdvs.net. nhdvs.net, National Home for Disabled Volunteer Soldiers, nhdvs.net.
Could I have a contact phone number?
My particular phone number is area code 310-795-7051. 310-795-7051.
Repeat it one more time.
310-795-7051.
That's a distress call, people. The same thing with Simon's book. That's a distress call. We need your help. Please come aboard and listen to this whole hot program that we just gave you. It's important. We're not movie stars. We're veterans, combat veterans. We need your help. Operation Find for Effect, 315-986-7322. We need your help. Thank you, Aaron, so much. Again, I can't tell you how many thanks can we give you because you gave us an opportunity to open up.
Well, I'm just really pleased that you all came and that you all spoke up about this. Quite frankly, I would wonder, I don't know if I've ever asked you, Gene, but how many other podcasts have you guys been on going through this whole presentation? You shouldn't just depend on some blind guy with an opinion to share your stories, You guys should be on, hopefully, by watching this YouTube video tomorrow and listening to the podcast, hopefully other people around the podcast community who care hopefully one other person in the world cares. I don't know. I would hope so. My hopes are hovering around zero. So, but maybe one other person around the universe cares about this and offers you the same opportunity as I did. I would certainly hope so.
I would appreciate it by listening to our phone numbers and our contacts that they would contact us, even if it's an individual or as a group. They can have us as all, whatever.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. So basically, Gene, I would generally ask, is that, that's a lot to digest, of course. Is that all or everything that you would like to go over? And is there anything that you feel has been left out? We do have a few more minutes. So if there's anything that's been left out or.
Janelle had her hand up.
Oh, she did? Well, I didn't get the notification, so go. There it is. Go ahead.
I did it with my actual hand. I'm sorry.
You see, for blind, us blind podcast hosts, we have to have you put the button. We have to have you push the button if we're blind people. You see.
Well, you can ask Gene. He's training me on how to give tech support to visually impaired. I use a remote control program and help him when he needs help. But he amazes me how he navigates not with the visual problems that he has. And that real quick, because I don't want to take up the rest of the time. The website that Francisco said and various other things that we were talking about, I posted in the chat. In particular, Calvin, look for the one that I posted. I'll send it to you in an email about the press release where the lawyer beat the in Supreme Court of Michigan and got a veteran a repayment of $78,000. They didn't want to go for the $144,000 in legal fees, but they sided with the veteran and ordered that the spouse pay back all that stolen compensation in the name of alimony.
Okay, Aaron,
pretty much
I really like to thank one guy that's very important. We haven't even mentioned him. God has put us together here. Without him, we'd be nothing. He's the main source of how we function. He is the chief and commander. Nobody else. I thank God for putting us here. Thank you.
I agree with you. Amen. Thank you. Definitely.
Amen.
Yeah. All right. Well, does anyone else have any other thing you guys want to go over? Any other comments that you want to make? Any other questions for me? Anything else from all of you?
I want to.
Sure, go ahead.
I want to give a shout out to Calvin. I haven't talked to him in years. Calvin, it's great to hear you. I hope we could talk after this.
Amen, brother. I'm looking forward to it.
The link to the podcast. That's what I want.
Okay. Well, you will tomorrow in about a day. Gene, if you CC everyone on the email, I will certainly reply. I will reply all with the podcast link for this episode and the YouTube video, which is of course the video. Which to clarify, then once you all have those links are yours to share. So yes. All right.
Thank you. Just remember, call Simon for that book. Call Francisco Juarez on the issue of West LA. We need your help desperately. I thank you so much. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.